Welcome to the Vet S.O.S podcast, brought to you by the Who You Know Network. Vet S.O.S is a proud member and glad to be supported by the Parade Deck community. Remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the Vet S.O.S Lifeline. We're happy to have Denise Lewis with us today. She is going to be telling us about an awesome organization, Vet Jobs and Military Spouse Jobs, and the great things they're doing. Special announcement at the end with something that you don't want to miss. Something that really sounds like it's going to be awesome. So make sure you stay tuned till the very end to hear about that. As always, I'm here with my partner, Eric. Eric, how are you doing today?
Brother, it is a beautiful day here in Georgia. I am excited to be here. I am a big fan of this organization. So I'm stoked to be here, dude. Let's get after it.
All right. So we'll jump right into the intro here. Denise is the Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility for Corporate America. Supports you. DBA, doing business as Vet Jobs in the Military Spouse Corporate Career Network and Military Spouse Jobs, two unique nonprofit organizations that provide employment, readiness, and job placement assistance for all veterans, military spouses, National Guard Reserve, transitioning military affiliated survivors, caregivers, divorcees, and youth. Denise is an Army brat who was born and raised in West Point, New York. Very sorry to hear that. She is an Army retired spouse who has been an advocate for the Army all of her life. Denise holds a master's in management and leadership. As an Army spouse, Denise moved 26 times. Unbelievable. In 34 years, and was affected by employment opportunities, promotion, retirement, and pay inequities. Denise is grateful for all the ability to still serve and ensure that all of our military affiliated candidates have equitable opportunities for career enhancement and employment. I don't know how you ever found a place to get settled into after that many different moves, Denise, but we are so glad to have you on here with us today. How are you doing?
Well, gentlemen, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me on the show. I met Sean at MIC last year, the Military Influencer Conference in Las Vegas, which was amazing. So thank you. Little tired right now. Just got in late last night after being with Mil Spouse Fest in San Diego. So, hey, but ready to get up and get after it today. So I'm so excited.
There's no rest helping our veteran community. You got to stay after it.
That's right.
All right. So you have a history, obviously, of being involved with the military between, growing up in it as well as being married and continuing that service. So is that really the driving force about why you still continue to give back to the community, or are there other factors that play into, why you help people with these different transitions and helping the spouse community and the veterans and the whole list that you provided of people with this whole job search function?
Well, and one of the things, one of my other side jobs is I also am a faculty member at one of the community colleges. Excuse me. And so we talk about career and aligning passion with employment because, great resignation, a lot of people were leaving work, with great pay. And so, excuse me, for me, it was just a sheer blessing when I was, had the opportunity to work for an organization like this, where I experienced, all of those inequities as related to career and promotion. And so anything that I can do to help, even in the military community, help those underserved populations. And there's a lot of those populations. So it was truly a match made in heaven for me.
You used one of my favorite words, alignment. I think that is, man, we strive. We hear so many times we got to look for like this balance in life, and balance just doesn't last, right? It's not sustainable. But alignment, if you find alignment in what you're doing, find alignment with an organization, if you find an alignment with a position, you are so right, Denise. That is something that can be sustained.
Well, it does help a little bit that I do live in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So having that and then having the work, life balance and, I still get to be with my veteran and spouse community. I'm like, okay, thank you.
I love it. So let's do this. Let's dive in. I want to hear all about what you've got going on over at Cassie. Tell us all about it.
All right. So so you just want me to dig right in as
Just-
to what we're doing at vet jobs and military spouse jobs
Yes.
and what I'm doing there?
Nobody wants to hear our voice. Tell us all about it. Take over. Let's go.
So my position really came online last year. The board and the executive team really came to me and said, Denise, how can you help us make sure that we are reaching those underserved communities? Because we're unique, we're all independent contractors. So we don't have that typical HR, human resource, where there is a different need for someone in diversity initiative. So, we really go beyond gender and race, in what I'm doing, because we're finding now too, ageism is a factor, especially in our 55 plus community. We're finding that there's so many financial insecurities. So a lot of those veterans and spouses are needing to come back to work. So that's really, in alignment, because I was born in 1802. So, I'm one of those ones I'm also, very grateful to be working. But also some of those communities like divorcees, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of them are unaware that they still have services available to them. Are survivors of suicide. Some of those survivors of suicide don't have some of those same career and employment organizations that are vetted that they can come to. And so that's what really makes us unique. And that's why I'm just so incredibly grateful. But so I'll tell you a little bit of a background about the organization. So our lovely couple, Dan and Deb Kleppel, Admiral Kleppel, so he's retired, and Deb, they were married several years ago, and Deb was significantly impacted by employment. She was an executive for an airline, and so she ended up falling in love following her husband, and had those changes in a career. And so she initially started up military spouse jobs in 2004. So we are one of the oldest vetted organizations that we really had that time to understand what a veteran and spouse needs. And, we've been metrics based since day one. And so I think that that's the confidence that we can give a candidate when they come in, is if they just go to our website and they look at all of our awards through HOH Chamber, the Nonprofit Leadership Award, great nonprofits, call it like BBB. So there's over 42,000 nonprofits in the space that do something similar. They might do one part, they might help with, a resume, they might help with LinkedIn, but we are truly your one-stop shop. We have everything from getting assessed, and especially in our 55 plus community and our spouses that have had those gaps in employment. Who do I want to be? What do I want to do? We have a lot of spouses, especially in the health and teaching. Those are, industries that people are kind of getting out of because of the long hours, the underpay, being able to have that balance with your family. And unfortunately, our school systems are pretty scary. So a lot of those kinds of jobs that spouses used to be in are now looking to reinvent who they are and what they want to do. So we are all, and this was very important to the Admiral and Deb, that we are all military affiliated. So all of us, we are all independent contractors. And everyone is either a spouse or a veteran. So when we have a candidate come to us, we get it. And there's very few organizations that do that as well. So we are nationwide. And so basically a candidate, when they come in the portal, once they register with us, within 24 to 48 hours, they are contacted by their designated career specialist. And I kind of call them, a career counselor, like really counseling. Sometimes, whether it's a survivor, a caregiver, a veteran, they just need somebody to talk to that knows, or to help them align them with what they need. Because sometimes that's kind of daunting. You come in, you click on a button, you go in, and you don't even know where you want to start as it relates to a career, as it relates to training. So again, we assess. So when the candidate first comes in, we make that assessment, we have that conversation to identify that industry. And then we align them with our other services, which are our extensive training platforms that I'll kind of talk about here in a little bit. And then our recruiter connect specialists. So we accelerate them. And when they're ready, because some people only want training, but we accelerate them into a job opportunity. And that's working directly with our Recruiter Connect specialist, who work directly with over 3,000 employer recruiters. So that's and especially if you are a spouse, you're home, you're with the kids, sometimes you don't have the time to have all of these different organizations and agencies out there where you could just come and we can align you with, all of those. And there's no pressure. Maybe you come in and you just want to do the training platform. That's fine. Maybe you come in and you get a job and you're like, you know what? This isn't the perfect fit. And it's like, guess what? You can still stay with us no matter what. So hopefully I caught you up to.
Oh yeah. And my biggest takeaway from that was I wasted my time doing 26 programs. I could have just gone to this one program and knocked it out. One-stop shop.
One-stop shop.
And so I have a quick question. I mean, the myriad of services that are provided is incredible, right? The numbers of employers and recruiting partners that you have is astronomical. So I'm hoping that a veteran or a spouse gets some kind of a discount, but I'm sure this is an incredibly expensive process, right? This has got to cost us an arm and a leg. What does this run a veteran or a spouse? What does this cost?
Oh my gosh. So we get that all the time. So sometimes I'm kind of cautious when I say this, because sometimes it gets an adverse effect, but we are no cost. We do not charge a penny for anything, whether you get a job, you come back. And so sometimes, we get a little pushback from potential candidates because they're thinking, well, it's free. Surely, this is going to be, I'm not going to get what I need. Trust me when I say we have the most incredible, generous funders. Call of Duty Endowment is one of our biggest supporters. And the reason why we get this support is, again, it goes back to vetting. It goes back to, we do metrics for everything within our organization. So there's no, okay, so is somebody pilfering some money, somewhere else? No, our team, our executive team, Stacey Baton, Deb, they really, really work hard with these potential funders to, get this program running pretty seamlessly. So again, no cost, free, doesn't cost.
Well, and you highlighted an organization that is actually really near and dear to my heart, and I'm a big fan of, and that's the Call of Duty Endowment, right? Dan Goldenberg and his team over at the Call of Duty Endowment are incredible human beings. listen, if you're listening to this and you don't know what that is, just Google it, take a look at it. You don't get to be an organization that is backed by the Call of Duty Endowment by being a slouch. Okay. Metrics driven, results based. That is what it takes for Dan and his team to say, you know what, we're on board. And so please listen, folks, if you're listening to this organization is huge. This is one of my, like I said at the very beginning, it's one of my favorite organizations, just based on what they do and truthfully based on their history, right? It is tough coming as somebody who retired after 25 years. It is tough to come out and look at 42,000 organizations and wonder, who can I trust?
Yeah.
Who is it that I can trust? The military does a great job of giving us purpose and everything else. It also does a great job of giving us trust issues. Right. And so as I step out into the unknown, looking at organizations and wondering, who can I trust? When we do that, we have to look at who backs them. We have to look at how long they've been around. We have to look at what their metrics are. What is their proven track record? And I am telling you, folks, this is one that stands head and shoulders above the rest. This is one of those organizations that you have to look into it. But again, I'm just Eric. Just don't take my word for it. Hit the Google machine.
Eric, preach. Okay, I don't.
Hit the Google machine. Do your own research. I implore you, do your own research. But I'm telling you what you're going to find.
And that's the whole thing. And that's what's so important. It's really important for a candidate to research, research a job. Even if you come to us, research what training platform we have, and research does that certification. And that's another new thing is even credentialing with cybersecurity. Legislation is coming out where you don't have to have a 4-year degree in order to get a job. So we have extensive programs in cybersecurity. So spouses maybe who are transitioning with their soldier never even considered thinking about cybersecurity because they feel that that's out of their league, and that's not the case. So, any training platforms you go into, do, because as part of the faculty member, the teacher in me, is that's what I have my students do, is research the industry that you're in, because especially if you're a young spouse, it's all about, it goes back to that alignment and aligning. And that's where, having that career specialist that you can talk to, having that, recruiter connect specialist to talk to. And, some of the jobs that we have, they may not be the right job for you right now, but it might be the perfect job to help fill those gaps.
Yeah.
Because that's what's important on your resume, those gaps. So, here are some of the things that we help with. We help with those training platforms to help, pad your resume while you have a gap. So if you have an employer that asks the question, well, what have you been doing all this time? And this really works, especially for the caregiver, the survivor that's having a difficult time getting back into work, but still wants to do something. So we really have that all around service for, all the veterans and spouses looking to return back to work or, accelerate. And that's the other thing that our training platforms do is, for the upskiller with a bachelor's or a master's, one of the things for me is, okay, so I'm Black and I'm a woman. And although I was promoted to the director of diversity initiatives, I felt that I needed the credentials to back up my profession and, as it relates to diversity and inclusion. So that was the other benefit that I was able to do, is I was able to take training platforms through Coursera, through the University of Rice and Cal State. So, it was a 4-week program. It was pretty seamless to go through, but, it layered my experience. And some of our training platforms, even for those who are currently employed, what they could potentially do is enhance your opportunities for promotion and pay increase. So.
And I think, one of those demographics that are our spouses, I think it's a really overlooked population, right? We know that the numbers of unemployment for our male spouses are astronomical. But I think what I want to highlight, and this is just something that's near and dear to my heart, and it's probably because I have a son who's serving, who's married, and he's in his first term, right? So when I look at our junior enlisted, our junior officer spouses, who might very well have 20 plus years ahead of them of move after move after move, aligning with an organization like this now, starting a career that transports with them, right? Getting into a position that can move with them, that they don't have to start over. When we start encouraging our junior enlisted, our junior officer spouses to get involved, to get their upskilling, to get their credentialing, and then to get aligned with an organization, with an employer, with a position that allows them to travel with it, the ripple effects in the quality of life for the family, the ripple effect for the quality of life for the marriage, the ripple effect for the quality of life for the children, like that, it's astronomical. Like, you can't measure that. I love that you guys are metrics based, but you can't measure that. You just you can't measure the effect that can have if you get in line early in your spouse's career, so that in the event that you do have 26 moves ahead of you, maybe it's not starting over 26 times.
Well, and and one of the cool things with our organization is we align with the right employers.
Yeah.
So where they understand the unique needs, career and employment needs of the spouse, and working with, partnerships like HOH Chamber. The other thing is that the fellowships that they do, and, guys, paid fellowships, 3 months, and you pretty much walk directly into a job. They've really thought about all of these needs, inequities for spouses, and how to have that long-term opportunity. And, I've done a lot of research with the 55 plus community and just ageism as a whole. And so as of right now, anybody that's 55, 60 years old, we're living longer. So that is an extended amount of time that, we're going to be on this earth. And that community, so employers who are still nervous about hiring somebody in that community, guess what? We're the ones that have the coins. We're buying the houses. We're buying, it's time to buy a car. So economic impact by not hiring people in those communities, are significant. And then they say, even now, a 5-year-old will potentially live until they're 100. So, these are things that we really have to take into consideration. And so with spouses who, transition with their soldiers, veterans who transition, they're going to be living much longer. And we've got to ensure that they have those jobs. So employers, if you are looking to align with us, we have the most right now. I think we have over, I'm sorry, I'm probably going to have this number wrong, but I think we have definitely over 100 plus thousand candidates in our database.
Wow.
And so sometimes people think, oh gosh, that's way too much, but that's significant. We have just such a diverse candidate base available, especially to employers who are contractors, where they need those diversity numbers. I mean, we've got them. They're vetted. They're ready. So, I definitely highly encourage employers, work with our Recruiter Connect specialist, because we really do have significant people that are waiting for this job.
And this is a population. I'm going to continue your incredibly eloquent plead to employers. This is a population of people who have already dedicated themselves to one large organization in the military. They know what it means to have stick-to-itiveness. They know what it means to believe in something. They know what it means to fight for what's right. This is a great population. And I'm going to tell you one thing I do love. When you start talking about the number of employers and recruiting opportunities that you have, right? The partnerships that you have built. What I think a lot of people, what we miss is that your organization has already bridged the gap with over 3,000 employers so that they know. There's so many employers out there that don't know how to hire a spouse, don't know what a spouse needs, but you have already bridged that gap. So when our spouses or our 55 and older communities or our transitioning service members, when they align with you there and they look at employers you're partnered with, those employers have already been told. They already know. You don't have. I as a veteran, I don't have to. I don't have to translate anything for them. They already know. My spouse does not have to translate anything for them. They already know.
And the process is so easy. And sometimes even employers where, I hate to say this, but employers they're doing great things and they're hiring military liaisons and they're paying significant amounts of money for these liaisons. Well, guess what? We could potentially save you $60,000 because you will be assigned a recruiter to work within our organization. And we have already looked at the resume. We have helped that individual write a targeted resume for that job description. I mean, we just had someone that came into our system 5 weeks ago, was in desperate need of a job, identified a job through one of our gazillion jobs we had posted. And our Recruiter Connect specialist heard the desperation in this individual's voice, targeted the resume, and that individual had a job offer in 5 hours.
I love it.
I'm like,
I love it.
See, I have my it's like I gotta pull the pin and just drop it.
Yeah, she just blew up a whole bunch of people's dreams of working for companies as a veteran person.
That's awesome. Okay. I cannot believe this, but we are already out of time.
Oh my gosh, no. I'm gonna have to have another segment.
We're gonna have to do a part 2. And this time I'm gonna ask that you bring Sandy just because I love picking on that guy.
Oh my gosh,
he's a fan. I'm a big fan. Anyway, so I know that we've got a special announcement. We got some big things coming up. We got a big thing, and I want to give you the floor to tell our listeners what's coming their way.
Okay, so everyone, Guard and Reserve is truly near and dear to our hearts. So on April 9th through 10th in Washington, D.C., we have a employer Guard and Reserve Summit. It is our first. We are bought in, and we would love for anyone that's in the area or can attend, please register at www.employguardreserve.com for more information. And I also have to give a shout out to our wonderful partners at Spouse Fest. It is another way for us to go across the country and to be able to get to spouses through all branches. So if you are a spouse, they have incredible events. Go to www.millspousefest.com. Wonderful event. And I am just so honored to work for vet jobs and military spouse jobs. So if you're needing to get a job, you just need that support. We are there to support you guys. And you guys are awesome.
I love it. Okay, Denise, one last question for you. I know everyone knows how to find vet spouse jobs, and we know how to find them. How do people connect with you? If they wanted to connect with you, how do they connect?
So if they connect with me, you can see right there is my LinkedIn. So please reach out if you're an employer, and funding, especially for military spouse programs. I mean, it's literally table scraps. When you have 42 organizations and some of them not vetted, looking for those opportunities, please, please, please. We have some major initiatives that we really need that funding support for. So you can reach out to me, employer, funder, potential candidate. We are there to serve and help as best as we can.
Awesome. I love it. All right. That is it. Hey, everyone, listen, on behalf of the Vet S.O.S family, we want to thank you for taking time to join us, to tune in with us, just to sit and hang out with us and listen. Make sure to follow and subscribe to us on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms. And as always, please, please, please remember, do not drown in the sea of transition. Grab that Vet S.O.S lifeline. We'll see you guys later.